Hello guys, welcome back to Legal Banter. Vivekanand once said, the same way a bird cannot fly on one wing, similarly, the welfare of a nation cannot solely rely on men. Women have to be equally paid attention to. WHO's statistics says that 1 in every 3 women has at some point of time faced emotional, physical or mental abuse. Our own statistics show that in the last year, we have more than 30,000 plus cases of various kinds where women were abused in some or the other form. The problem is very simple. Right from the age when the girl is born, in fact even before that, she starts to face discrimination. At the time when she is in the mother's womb, she is always going to be under the fear of female infanticide. As her age progresses and she moves towards adolescence, other issues like child marriage, forced marriage also starts to crop up. Once she gets married, she further suffers other forms of abuse in her matrimonial home, either in the form of forced sex, forced abortions, forced pregnancies and the loss of her matrimonial rights. Even in her old age, we cannot presume that a woman will be laid at rest. She continues to suffer at the hands of society and her family members. That's the reason why our laws, the Indian laws, are women-centric. However, the problem still remains is that most of us are not aware of what the law provides us. So today, on the occasion of Women's Day, I am going to be taking you through the pertinent rights that every Indian woman should be aware of. I have divided these rights into 6 parts. The first part is rights to women around marriage. The second part is about right to women in her workplace. The third part is about right to women under the Indian Constitution. Part 4 is about rights of these women under the criminal laws. Part 5 relates to rights to dignity and decency. And part 6 would be the miscellaneous rights that I have culled from different laws in India. Rights around marriage are divided into 4 components. First, her right to choice or choose. Second, her right to decide to stay in the relationship. Third, her right to seek maintenance. And fourth, her right to seek protection and prevention of domestic violence. Let us look at these rights in detail now. The first part is the women having a right to choose. Hereunder, not only does she have the right to insist that cannot be married before she turns the age of 18, also she has the right recognized in law that she can choose her marital partner on her own, even if that means disregarding her family members' wishes. This also allows the woman to choose whether she wants to get married at all. She has a right to choose whether she wants to live in a live-in relationship with a person. Furthermore, children, if any, which are born out of such marital relationships or live-in relationships are also recognized for the purpose of succession to property. The second part is the right of women to stay in the relationship. Now that has 2 aspects further. First, she can choose when she wants to step out or opt out of the marriage. So the law recognizes the right of a woman to seek divorce either on the grounds provided under section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act, or she can also seek divorce on the ground of mutual consent, where both the husband and wife take a mutual decision to dissolve the marriage. Within the same right is a right against sexual assault. Even though till now the Indian law does not criminalize marital rape, it can still be considered as an act of cruelty on the basis of which the women can seek dissolution of her marriage. The third right around marriage relates to her right to seek maintenance. It is the obligation and the responsibility of her husband, and in the absence of her husband, the people that she shares a household with, to take care of the women and provide her maintenance. We have various laws under which the women can seek this maintenance right simultaneously. Another right analogous to this is the right of women on her Stridhan. Hindu Succession Act recognizes that women is the absolute owner of her Stridhan, over which she will have a right that nobody can denounce. Stridhan here covers everything that has been gifted to the women or is given to the women at the time of her marriage, during her marriage or after her marriage. And finally, the last leg of these rights relates to prevention and protection of her well-being in her married life. There are laws that punishes and protects women against any forms of domestic violence and abuse. This abuse can be in either the form of physical, mental or even economic. The court has recognized all of these to constitute as cruelty. Rights around employment are covering 3 rights. The first right is equal pay for equal work, which means that every woman has the legal right to demand and be paid the equal remuneration as her male counterpart if both of them are doing the same kind of work. Secondly, she also has a right to seek protection and prosecution if she is a victim of any kind of sexual harassment at her workplace. The 2013 Act brings remarkable changes in the workplace regime of a woman, making it a more protected and a safe space for women, encouraging more and more women to opt out of their homes and to be able to work. The third right relates to maternity benefits. Under the Maternity Benefits Act, every woman has the right to go on or be provided with 26 weeks of paid leave whenever she delivers a baby. This leave also has certain application in cases if there is an unfortunate circumstance of a woman undergoing miscarriage or any other complications that may result in and around pregnancy. We also have a new law coming up whereby some companies, I mean it's still not a law, but we do see a lot of companies which have started recognizing period leaves as well, which means that the days when the woman is menstruating or is she is having her periods, there are companies which have recognized that as a form of medical leave and the women are granted leave. They are allowed to take leaves if they want to during that time. Rights to women under our Indian Constitution. There are primarily 5 rights, rightfully called as rights, that are provided under our Indian Constitution, and along with that we also have various directive principles of state policy as well as fundamental duties which seek to protect and empower women. Let us look at the rights. The first and the foremost right that every woman has under the Indian Constitution is a right for equal treatment or the right of equality. Hereunder, women can seek that under no ground can she be discriminated on the basis of her sex or sexual orientation. The second right is provided under section 15. Hereunder, the section specifically says that no state can make any laws or carry out any form of discrimination on the basis of sex, caste, gender, etc. So, if there are matters of employment or access to opportunities, etc., the state cannot discriminate against women just because she belongs to the female gender. We also saw a realization of this provision last year when the Supreme Court stated that now even women are allowed to seek recruitment in combat roles as well as permanent service commissions in the armed forces. The next right is relating to equality of opportunities. Under Article 16, women are allowed to have equal access to opportunities and other forms of guarantees that male counterparts are also allowed. The fourth right is available under right to free legal aid. Under section 12 of the Legal Services Authorities Act, free legal aid to every woman, whether she can or cannot afford a lawyer, is a fundamental right, and it has been held so by various Supreme Court decisions as well. The next right under the Constitution provides for mandatory reservation of seats for women whenever any municipal or panchayat elections are being held. This ensures that there is equal participation of women in the democratic process. And finally, the last right relates to, it's not a right as such, but it is considered a duty on the state that under Article 15 Clause 3, the state has the power that wherever it is needed, it can make laws specially favoring or in the favor of women. Right of women under our criminal laws. These rights are subdivided into 4 categories. The first category is registration of complaint and filing of FIR. Second, the fact that women has a right not to be called to a police station. Third are some of the rights pertaining to arrest of a woman, and fourth are her rights around privacy and confidentiality. Let us look at them in detail. The first right allows the women that she can, one, file a zero FIR, which is enunciated by a Supreme Court decision, which means that irrespective of the territorial jurisdiction, whichever is the nearest police station for a woman, she can go and seek the filing of her FIR in that police station, and from there it shall be transferred to the correct police station accordingly. Secondly, she also has the right to file virtual complaints. She can either email or through a letter send it to the Superintendent of Police, or if the Superintendent of Police is not cooperating, she can also write a letter or send an email registering her complaint with the magistrate of her local jurisdiction. This also allows her the right to filing of untimely complaints and FIRs, which means that there is no time boundation so far as a woman's access to filing these reports or complaints is concerned. She can do so at any point of time whenever there is a need to. So thirdly, the rights are regarding arrest. Now, firstly, a woman cannot be arrested without a lady constable being present, which means that if a woman has to be arrested in relation to any offence or any allegation, there has to be a mandatory presence of at least one police officer who is female at the time of such arrest. Secondly, the women cannot be arrested after sunset or before sunrise. If at all there is an emergency and this has to be done, there is an exception that has to be made. The special permission of the magistrate has to be sought. Furthermore, if at all there is a need or requirement of a medical examination of a woman, either as a victim or as an accused, the medical examination can only be conducted by a female medical officer or at least in the presence of a female medical officer. Furthermore, a woman cannot be called to the police station at any point of time. She in fact has a right provided under the law that she can refuse if she is called to the police station, and a statement can be recorded. It should rather be recorded at a place of her convenience where she feels the most comfortable. The fourth set of rights are around the privacy and maintaining the confidentiality of a woman. Thereunder, there are rights pertaining to the fact that if there is a rape victim, her identity has to be maintained anonymous, her name, details, photograph or particulars are not supposed to be disclosed, and even the judicial trial that goes on will be an in-camera proceedings, or if the judge may feel so, it is going to be conducted in the chambers of the judge. Furthermore, a doctor, whenever any doctor who is going to medically examine a female in lieu of any charges of rape or sexual assault, he does not have the right, he is not been granted the right to claim or declare whether rape was committed or not. He simply has to prepare a report pertaining to the nearest or the closest or the most recent sexual activity that the women may have been privy to. Right to dignity and decency. Hereunder, there are two primary rights that every woman is vested with. Firstly, under section 354 and varied clauses thereunder of the Indian Penal Code, women's decency and dignity are protected. So, it punishes and covers different offences, for example, sexual harassment, assault with the intent to disrobe or take off the dress of a woman, assault with an intent to outrage the modesty of a woman, voyeurism and stalking. Stalking is also a punishable offence under the Information Technology Act under section 66E, which says that any form of virtual stalking or bullying or squatting is also a punishable offence. Secondly, there is a law titled as Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act of 1986, whereby depiction of women, representation of women in any forms of media, whether it is a book, whether it is a movie or any other form of media, the same if it is done in any objectionable manner or which degrades the representation of women, the same is also a punishable offence. Part 6 are miscellaneous rights. I have identified 5 of these laws that are applicable to women. The first right is right to a safe abortion. Under the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, every woman, both under the age of 18 as well as above the age of 18, have a right to seek safe and medical abortion. This is subject to a limit of 20 weeks as per the earlier law, which now stands extended to 25 weeks. Another miscellaneous right that women enjoy is the right to seek adoption. Every woman under the provisions of the Hindu Marriage Act can go for adoption. More so, if her husband is the one going for adoption or seeking an adoption, he cannot do so without the consent of his wife. The third right is the right to education. Right to primary education is recognized as a fundamental right both under our constitution as well as various Supreme Court decisions, on the basis of which state governments are also under this mandate. The fourth right is a right to property or the right to succession. There is a law whereby women are now treated as co-partners in their father's property from birth, which is a big thing so far as women property rights are concerned. The final right relates to prohibition of sex determination or selective sex determination of fetus. Through a law, this act where people try to find out or determine the sex of the fetus based upon which they may decide to go for feticide is a punishable offence under the act. As you may have noticed by now, there is no paucity of rights for women in India. There are many laws that provide these rights. However, still in 2020, we have more than 35,000 of reported cases of women harassment and abuse. God knows how many more are unreported. The main problem still is of information asymmetry, or rather lack of awareness. Even today in India, and this not only applies for villages and towns, but even in cities, women are not aware of their legal rights. The objective behind this video on the occasion of Women's Day specifically is to increase the awareness and educate the women about their legal equitable rights so that they are better protected. I hope you found the video helpful. If you like the content, please hit the like button. Please share this video with as many women as possible that you think are in need of such information. For more such content, please subscribe to my channel Legal Banter. Thank you so much for watching.